Hello and welcome everyone, this is Miranda's Crafter and I'm back at you tonight with another Let's Play episode. This is episode number 2. Well, actually this is episode number 2, like the 5th time I've tried to record it. Because, I'm not going to lie, I've had some issues. I had a couple setbacks in game, not in real life. I've had a couple setbacks in game. This is supposed to be a PvE server, but I have basically been raided by some jerks that are probably failed PvP players that can't handle it on a PvP server. So they come to a server where people are just trying to play against the environment and enjoy themselves, and they get no more higher joy than ruining someone's day, using mechanics that are not allowed, breaking the rules, and doing things like meshing and all that kind of stuff. Well, that's what happened. My base pretty much just got annihilated. It just got taken away from me, basically. I learned a valuable lesson out of this whole thing, though, and that's that Wildcard still refuses to fix raft raiding. And that's kind of what happened to me. I had built my base right on the shoreline because I thought it was going to be so cool to have a base right on the water. And, oh, while we talk, there's a purple drop. I got to go get that. I thought it would be so cool to build my base right on the water and be able to have a water pen and water dinos and all that kind of stuff. And that was going to be so neat, and I was going to really enjoy that. Well, like 2 days after I filmed the first episode, a guy moved on to the island where I was at, and I basically didn't move any farther forward with my pillaring because I wanted to let him have some space, and I had about half the island under my control, so I was fine. I had enough room to be able to make content and do some neat things in the future, and I allowed him to have a space, and I pulled back some of my pillars so that he could have some room and all that kind of stuff. And he set up a base out of some things that he got out of a drop, like a few behemoth gates and all that kind of stuff, and kind of threw down a real quick base. And then, you know, I asked him if he needed anything. He said, no, I'm good. So I was like, all right, I'll leave you alone. So I turned my back and I went to go look for a dinosaur to harvest or to tame. And well, let's see what we got. So I got some beer. Oh, I got an Ankylosaddle blueprint. That is nice. I like that. I better get it before somebody else comes up here and grabs it. Yeah, that's nice. That was a good one. Glad I did that. Anyway, sorry, got distracted. Squirrel. So basically, I just, you know, I left him alone at that point and went on about my business. And I came back to my base about an hour later, and I'll be dadgum if he wasn't on my base shooting at a wild Therizino that he had drug over there and was trying to get it to attack my base so that he could get in my base and let the Therizino kill my dinosaurs so he could get my saddles and stuff, probably, is what he was after, because he, as far as I know, he couldn't really get in the boxes or anything like that. So I guess that's what he was after. And I asked him to stop, and he just kept spouting some Chinese stuff at me. And I had, at that time, still had some wooden thatch walls up, so the Therizino just wrecked it. It just tore down about half my wall on the back side. It got inside the base and it started killing my dinos. Well, at that point I realized that I better get this thing killed, so I started fighting the Therizino, and I finally got it almost dead, and then it killed me, and then I respawned and got on one of my dinos and finished it off. Well, at that point, somehow he had got my bag, I guess, and took all my gear. And then he was inside my base with half the wall busted down, but he was having trouble finding a way to get out. So I think I kind of taught him a little bit of a lesson himself, and I went all Fortnite mode on him. And I grabbed some walls, and I grabbed one of my pterodons, and I pinned him into a corner with the pterodon, and then started throwing up walls around him, and I basically boxed him in a corner with a 1x1 box of stone walls, and he couldn't get out. So he was basically stuck there. And I guess he didn't know about the, instant respawn on your survivor implant, so he didn't try to do that to be able to die and get out of there, because I guess he didn't know that that was a thing. So yeah, he basically stayed inside that box that I trapped him in for about an hour waiting to die, and I could hear him continually eating food and stuff, and I don't know, he just probably didn't understand that he needed to just let himself die so he could get out of there. But yeah, that was kind of interesting. So I was pretty proud of myself for being able to pull that one off. I thought I really taught him a lesson, and that he wouldn't dare be back, you know, so after getting shamed like that. Well, I was wrong. The next day, I logged on, and he was trying to drag a titanosaur over to my base, because there's one that always spawns right over there, and he was successfully getting it to attack my base, and I was just like, oh my god, what do I do? Because I can't kill this titanosaur, I can't kill him. So basically it was a fight between the two of us to drag it away from my base, and while he tried to drag it on my base. So I would pull it, then he would pull it, then I would pull it, then he would pull it. And I didn't really have another choice. I didn't know what to do, because if I just stand there and let it go on, then it would just stomp all my dinos to death and bust the rest of my base. So yeah, I didn't really have a choice of what to do. Well, I finally got it lured, being I was on the shoreline. I finally got it lured far enough out into the ocean to where I could get it to drown. And that's what eventually happened. It got out in the ocean and it got stuck because it went too deep, and it got caught on a ledge and it couldn't get up, and it finally drowned. So that was over with, and I guess he decided he had had enough for the day and he left for a while. I decided I'd had enough of him, so I went and got my pillars and I started re-pillaring around him in a circle so that he couldn't build anymore. I know that that was probably a mean tactic, but I mean, hey, what else can I do? I didn't know what else to do. He just kept on harassing me and wouldn't stop. And this is supposed to be a PvE server, and, you know, trying to report somebody doesn't really get anything done, because they're so busy right now trying to get the game up that they don't have time to answer reports. So that was a waste of time. So yeah, I just didn't really know what to do. So in frustration, I stopped trying to record episode 2, and I logged off. Had I thought about it, and had I had half a brain on me, I would have recorded the interaction between me and him, because that would have made some really good content after the fact that I've calmed down about it and not so frustrated about it. Now I see that that would have been some really good content, and oh my god, I wish I could have captured the part where I Fortnited him into the corner. That would have been amazing. But yeah, I didn't record it. But at that point, I was so frustrated that I just logged off, and I didn't log on until the next day, because I needed a break, and I kind of felt like I had my base all in stone now at that point. So I figured like I could breathe, you know, I could take a breath, because Therazinos couldn't claw through my wall anymore. Titanosaur probably wouldn't have done any damage to it, because I don't know if it could have or not. I'm not really sure, but I kind of felt like I had a respite for a moment. And then the next day, when I finally did log back on, I logged into something that I had never seen before, but it taught me a great lesson, and it taught me not to build in the water. And obviously, you see my next base that I moved to, like an idiot, I put it right in the water again, but I'll get to that here in a minute, because at this location, this was all I could find big enough to build on. So yeah, I had to take it. But I woke up that day to something I had never seen, and that was the effect that a raft can have on your base if you're built next to the water. So in this latest version of Ark Survival Ascended on the raft platforms, you can build out like 3 foundations and like 3 ceilings, so a total of like 6 long and 6 wide or something. So you can make quite a big structure on a raft if you wanted to. Well, he got the bright idea that him and his buddies took a raft and built a 6x6 platform on the raft out of thatch, and they made a huge box is what they did. They put walls on it and ceilings on it, and then they swam it right over to my base and clipped it right into my base. Well, what that ended up doing was I had all my dinosaurs moved to the far side against the mountainside wall to where they couldn't be reached through the wall and got to. But the raft effectively shut the rest of my base down and said, no, you can't access this. Because the raft parked right over the top of all my boxes and all my crafting stations and all my loot boxes, and everything that I owned was on the side of the base that was next to the water. And the raft was every bit as long as my base, so they clipped it into my base and just left it sit there. And basically what they did at that point was deny me access to any of my stuff. And there was nothing I could do about it because I couldn't get in the raft. I couldn't harm their structure, but yet they can clip their structure through mine and stop me from accessing anything. Yeah, so that was the final straw. At that point, I saw that this guy was never going to give up, and he was constantly just going to harass me, and I just decided to cut my losses, and I built another raft, that one that's sitting down there on the ground down there that just says raft with the bed on it. I sailed that over there, and I had a few storage boxes on it, and I got all my stuff that I could get and my dinosaurs that I had. I had a parasaur, I had a dimetrodon, I had a moschops, and I had some pterodons. But I put them all on the raft and tried to sail them over to where I'm at now. That didn't go so well. Halfway through the sailing voyage, the pterodons went nuts and started diving into the water repeatedly over and over and over. And I tried for like an hour to get them back, but I couldn't get them back, so I just left them. And then shortly after that, I got the message that they died because they were ate by megalodons, but they just completely wigged out being on a boat, and they didn't like it, and they started acting crazy. So I ended up getting the moschops, my dimetrodon, and I think that was it. That was all I made it here safely with. But that's okay because I've relocated to another spot. You might recognize it now. Now I'm at Carno Island. And I relocated because that's pretty much, you know, what I had to do. They've shut me down and I couldn't access my base anymore, so there was no point in even using that base. I liked the spot, but it's dead to me now because it's just nothingness anymore. So what I've got going on now is I decided to move to Carno Island because I needed some more action. It was nice over there, but I'll have to admit it was kind of boring. Nothing ever went on. Everything was pretty tame over there. The worst thing I ever saw was the Therizino that would get drugged to my base, and that was, you know, that was about it. And I moved to Carno Island with my taming raft right there. And it has the ability to have a Rex run right up the ramp and drop in the pit. And then on the other side, it has the ability for me to have an RG fly right in there and get stuck. And then I get off and open the door, and that traps the RG in there, and I can tame an RG. It doesn't look like much, but it's very effective. They follow me right up the ramp, and they fall in here, and then they hit the ceiling, and they automatically just go right down into the trap. So it's very effective. The Rex pitfall, just very simple design. It's 3 tall on the sides and the back, and the Rex just follows me right up the ramp, and skadoosh, drops right down in the hole. I had to tear out the wall to get my wild baby Rex that I'm growing up out of there because that's where I had it sitting until I got some imprints on it. But yeah, I took that dude right there and I came over here and immediately tamed a Rex and an RG. I tamed a level 80 Rex, and then I tamed a level 90 RG, I think is what it was, and max level on this server, an official server, is 150, so those were good levels, and I wasn't going to, you know, I wasn't gonna kick that out of bed, so I decided to go ahead and keep those, and those served me well while I've been here. Then I worked on getting another Rex, and it was like 10 more levels higher, so it was like a 95 or something. And then I got another RG that was like level 100. So I've done really well on the tames that I've got now. And then I just built this little crafting base to be, you know, work out of. So here's one of my Rexes, Bertha. She's my female. She was 80 when I tamed her, I think. Now she is 152. So I put quite a bit of levels on her because there's a lot of stuff to kill here. So she gets a lot of action. So she's doing really good. And then my next Rex that I got was this guy, Brutus. He was like level 90 when I tamed him. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get him out. Now, when I found him, I had the added benefit of finding this wild baby with him. It's a girl, and her name's Lois. And she was level 95 as well. So he was level 95 and she was level 95 as a baby. So that answered my question that I had is, do Rexes have wild babies? Yes, they do. Then also Brutus is now level 147. So I'm putting some good stats on them. And he's got a couple to go right now. Let me see. I wanted to get his melee up to 300, so that'll do it right there. And then he's got 6,000 something health, 1,900 stam, a decent weight. So he's actually pretty tough. He's not a bad Rex at all. This is his offspring, Lois, and not really sure how the baby thing is going to work, whether it's going to be good or what, I don't know. But I've been trying to imprint this thing for a day and a half now. And I just missed its imprint just now, and I guess it's not going to let me do it until the next one comes up, because now the little nursing symbol, the pacifier is showing red. So I guess that means I don't get this imprint, and I may not get another one on it. I've had like 5 imprints on it so far, and they each get 9%, and I've got it up to 36%. And, you know, you can see it's got some pretty decent stats too. It's starting off with 235 melee, which, hey, that's pretty good. Still it's an adolescent, so it's still got a ways to grow. It's 51% matured. So I'll see if it will actually let me do some more imprints on it whenever it gets to the point that this imprint is expired. We'll see. I'm going to change the follow distance on this to be a higher level because it has been getting on top of me and it's very annoying because I get stuck. I need to find the follow command. Alright, let's get her to follow me out here, and we'll see if we can get my other Rex out. The wild babies have had a bad problem about getting stuck in the water, so I don't know if this is a good idea or not. We'll see. Can't put a saddle on it at this point, so I'm basically just going to have to try to see if I can get it to follow me out of here. Come on. Come on, you got it. There we go. And try not to get stomped on top of. So that's going to be a pretty good Rex when it's grown up. Going to be a pretty good one. Starting off at level 95, that's pretty good. That's kind of neat about the wild baby system. Is all you got to do, if you kill the parent, then you just walk up and do an imprint on the baby and it's yours. Or if you tame the parent, then you can do the same thing. Excuse me. So this one's blue with a white belly. It's pretty. I like this one the best so far. He's pretty tough. Let's see which saddle he's got on him. He's got the normal saddle on him, okay. Because I did find a Mastercraft Rex saddle in a drop, and it was pretty nice. Ooh, let's go over here and see what this purple drop's about. I love Rexes. They're so much fun to stomp around on. The cool thing, if you look at the ground, you see the footprints in the sand. Isn't that neat? That's some of that tech that they were talking about. That was so awesome, like the water tech and the footprints and stuff like that. Okay, so we still got a minute before it comes down. I don't even see it. So Brutus is going to be a pretty solid Rex. He's got, he was 95 when I got him. And he tamed out at, gosh, I don't remember what he tamed out at. It's like 120 or something like that. So I put a few levels on him so far. He's got his melee up to 301. Stamina 1915. That's pretty good. Health of 6,337. That's not bad. Not bad. Pretty solid Rex right there. Got a good weight. He's going to serve me pretty good, I have a feeling. So yeah, I'm wondering, is this drop bugged or what? 'Cause I do not see it coming down. Kind of interesting. I've never had one bug out on me yet. Huh. Okay. Well, I'm not going to stand here and wait on a drop that ain't coming. So, I'll see if we can find something to kill. There's a Pelagornis. Let's see if we can hurt that thing. Got him. Oh, there's an alpha shark in there. I'd take that dude if it wants to come up here. Trying to get the meat off this Pelagornis. There we go. I wonder if that alpha shark wants to play. I've fought quite a... Oh, there's that drop. Let me go over and get that real quick. I've fought quite a few sharks with my Rexes so far. That's a tactic I like to do to level up Rexes because sharks give pretty decent experience. A lot of people don't even think about going in the water with their Rexes. Rexes are pretty decent in the water because they're so tall. They can usually find a shelf to stand on. And one thing I like about Rexes is I don't have to get off my mount to access the supply drop. That's really cool. Ooh. Blueprint. I'll take that. I don't really get a whole awful lot of blueprints, but I don't get a whole awful lot of drops over purple quality. Yes, yellow and red do spawn on Carno Island, but the majority is blue and purple is what I see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get my stamina back real quick. And I hope I don't lose my Rex on the video. That would be sad. But I'm going to go down here and see if I can see an alpha shark. And if I can, I'll try to lure it up. Those may just be mantas flashing around with their weirdo eyeballs. And I don't really see anything. Normally if there was some sharks around, they'd be all over me at this point. Oh my god, sharks are... Oh no, it's just a plant. Sharks are so annoying. There's so many of them. Here they come. Is it just me, or have they really toned up the sharks? I mean, that's for real. There's so many more sharks than there used to be, it seems like. Okay, so I got one up here with me. See if I can turn around and bite on it. Come on, shark. I've done bit you. You got to keep an eye on your O2 level and your stam, because stam... Oh, and there we go. Look at that. I was sitting here talking about how yellow drops are rare here, and there goes one right there. I better run over there and get that, because the activity level on my server seems a little low right now. So I may actually be able to get that. Normally I can't really get a drop because people are just all over the top of them. Especially during the day. It's the evening for me right now. And I am on an Asia server though, so it's kind of hard to tell when the best activity level is for me. I like to play when there's not so many people playing for just server load reasons and for reasons like trying to get drops. It makes it so much easier when there's not so many people online. So yeah, and I walked right into that pillar. Come on. Don't poop right now. I'm trying to get to this drop. When I joined this server, it was not marked as an Asia server. And then like a day into playing on it, it all of a sudden became an Asia server. And I was like, oh, great. I didn't know if that was a good idea or a bad idea to just continue on it, but it had a good uptime. So I went ahead and stuck with it. And now I'm kind of wondering if maybe that was a bad choice. Because no offense, but it seems like the people that I'm playing with on this server, all they want to do is grief. And I kind of wonder if maybe that's, well, I better be quiet before I get myself in trouble. Everybody will label me as racist or whatever, but it's just a, you know, a thing that happens. And of course, the minute I'm sitting here trying to get this drop, here goes the guy running out of his base. He's going to try to get it before me. And I'm going to try to see if I can get it too. And I got it. Sweet. I don't know, you know, he tried to get it. So the person that lived in that base right there saw that I had been there before them, and they still tried to take it from me. So shame on you, and ha ha ha. I got it anyway. So I have no clue what I was saying. But anyway, yeah. So I had to basically start over, and I'm on Carno Island now. I don't plan on staying here long, though, because I have other plans. I went and captured a secret location, and that will be in the next video. I'll showcase that new location. But for right now, I just basically came here so I could get a good solid start with some dinos, because that's one of the reasons why I'm not too fussed about my dinos getting killed, because they were just low-level junk anyway, and they weren't really nothing special. These are pretty nice. These are some A-tier dinos right here. I'll have 2 females and a male, all high level to start out with. 2 highish level RGs. I've got one level 100 and one level, I think it was 90. There's nothing to sneeze at. Those are good dinos. And I've got pretty much everything I need so far as crafting stations. Let's go look at what I got going on inside. I tried to do this after I learned my little lesson about how rafts can work. I took all my boxes and I put them in the middle this time, so that hopefully the base is big enough on either side for the raft to clip through the base and not encompass my storage boxes where all my loot is at. Because right now, you know, I've got all my good crafting drops to build with that I need in here. Well, let's dump some of that off while we're talking. Oh, I got some metal structures. Nice. And I've got a lot of that stuff in there. And then, you know, over here, I've got, you know, a couple boxes full of saddles. You know, I'm doing really good on the saddles. And then I've got lots of resources and weapons and armor and ammo and all that kind of stuff. So I've got all my resources and loot and crafting stuff in the middle, hopefully to where it can't be taken prisoner like it was taken from me before. I had some cool stuff at that other base. I had some good saddles and stuff, and I'm really disappointed that I lost all that. But when I came here, there was a lot of good drops, and I was able to restore my collection pretty good. I've got some pretty good items now. Ooh, that's a nice one. Mastercraft Pterodon saddle. I got a blueprint for a Pterodon saddle somewhere. Where's it at? I don't see it. It's in the other box probably. But yeah. And I've got one thing that I get a lot of at these drop levels is narco arrows. So you can see I've got a lot of trank arrows from these drops. I've got 500 just from drops. I haven't made any trank arrows since I've been here. But I do a lot of drop hunting, so I do get a lot of ammo and stuff from there. Now, I probably shouldn't have my fridges over here on this wall because of the same situation we just talked about. But I gotta put them somewhere, and I didn't really have room in the middle for them. Whoops, wrong one. Let's put the leech blood in the preserving bin. That's the first time I've actually got leech blood from a drop. That's pretty cool. I have a feeling they've reworked some of these drops, and because they just don't seem as good as they were at first. At first, they were just insane. And I think they've really toned down the quality of the drops. Okay, the ones I were wearing were 40. These are 45. I'm going to replace them with those. I'll put these in the box. And I've gotten some good scuba stuff. I've gotten a couple flippers, a couple vests. And I'm not at scuba level yet, so that's kind of nice. I'm almost there. I'm level 75, which is not too bad. Level 75. You like my fro, bro? I like my fro. I think it's pretty cool. I like the fro hairstyle. Looks like I got my fuzzy bunny slippers on. But they're Ascendant, man. So they're Ascendant Uggs. That's what they look like, Uggs. If you know what Uggs are, they're pretty comfortable. So yeah, I'm doing pretty good with my stats. I've put my 340 into health. I've kept an average stamina of 230. I don't ever seem to really run out of stamina. Melee damage, I've started to bump it up a little bit. Fortitude, I put 2 or 3 points into it so far. Weight is where the majority of my points went. I haven't put anything into oxygen, food, or water yet. I would like to put a few points into oxygen, though, because I want to be able to go into the ocean here in just a few levels. And I've got a fabricator up there, a grill. This is what the new grill looks like. It's really cool. It can use gas or electricity. All the new crafting stations can. I've got my refining forge up here. I'm going to build me an indie forge eventually. Here's one of my dinos that made it with me across the trip, Fred the Moss Chops. He's been my buddy for a while now. Oh, he's got some level. Let's do weight. And Helga, she's one of my other RGs that I tamed. Yeah, baby. She's a good girl. Put some weight on her. Yeah, it's a good girl, Helga. Yep. So yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. I've got everything I need going right now. I've got roof access here with these new gates. Hatch gates, these are awesome. You just put them down. You don't have to put a hatch frame or anything. You just put the gate down over a hole and it automatically conforms to the size. Got this one here too. You can put on a roof this size, you can put 4. So that's pretty neat. I did put me down one crop plot because I was just kind of playing around seeing if the gardening system was the same, and it is. Very cool. And then I've got one generator. You'll notice the generator is on, but it doesn't make a lot of noise. It's kind of like the S Plus generator now, so that's really cool. There was a way that you could show the range. Show range. And I wanted to do that because I have a friend that was asking me to try to figure out what the range on this was, because he wanted to build his base and he wanted to see just how far out the range goes. And in a circle, you can see it's pretty good size range. I don't think it was as good as the S Plus generator, because the S Plus one had quite a big range. So this right here seems like it's about 10 long and about 10 wide on either side. So in a cross pattern, it'd probably be about 10 in every direction. So hopefully that'll answer your question, Dilly. I can't get on single player right now because I just don't have the time tonight, but I'll try to nail that down exactly for you. So yeah, that's the range of the generator. That's pretty cool to see. You can see from where I'm standing right now what it looks like. Let me go first person. So I'm in the generator range right here, and you can see the generator up there, and that's every bit of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's about 10. 10 in a cross pattern probably, and then draw a radius around it. Pretty good range. And